There is a frequency that scripts reality itself, a divine hum at the core of all things, waiting for your permission to turn thought into tangible matter, desire into destiny. This is not a metaphor. It is the oldest law in the cosmos. And before this ends, you will remember how to broadcast it. Introduction. Close your eyes, if you will, and imagine yourself standing at the edge of an infinite ocean at night. The waves shimmer not with water, but with pure light, cascading in frequencies of gold and violet. Above you, stars pulse like living hearts, each one broadcasting its unique vibration across the cosmos. And somewhere deep within that infinite field, you feel it, the steady, eternal hum of creation itself. That hum is the frequency of God. It is not a sound you hear with your ears, but a resonance that trembles through the marrow of your bones. It is the rhythm behind the heartbeat, the silence beneath every song, the pulse that set galaxies spinning and keeps your breath moving in and out, even as you listen to these words now. For centuries, mystics and sages spoke of it in veiled language, the word in the beginning, the aum that vibrates the universe, the soundless sound that carries all things into being. Science, too, has begun to glimpse its outline frequency, vibration, resonance, the hidden architecture of reality itself. You see, everything that exists is frequency clothed in form. The chair you sit upon, the ground beneath your feet, even your body itself are nothing more than arrangements of vibrating energy, slowed down into shapes your senses can perceive. Change the frequency, and you change the form. This is the secret scripture hidden in plain sight. Life bends not to effort alone, but to vibration. The frequency of God is the highest, purest resonance, and when you align with it, the impossible dissolves, and the miraculous becomes natural. But here lies the mystery most live-tuned to the lower stations of existence: fear, scarcity, doubt, resentment. They wonder why life feels heavy, why abundance slips through their fingers, why love seems distant. They have simply tuned their inner dial to static, unaware that the signal of the divine has never stopped broadcasting. It is as if a symphony plays eternally, but they have chosen to keep their instrument out of tune. Yet you are here, listening now, because something within you knows there is more. You sense that wealth, love, health, and peace are not distant gifts, but frequencies already vibrating in the field, waiting for you to match their resonance. The frequency of God is not a privilege, it is your inheritance. It is not a faraway temple, you carry it in your own being. Throughout this audiobook, you will be guided step by step into attunement with this sacred frequency. You will learn to silence the noise, to harmonize with the law that governs creation, and to consciously broadcast the vibration of abundance, love, and divinity itself. Stories will illuminate the path, practices will anchor the truth, and every word will be a key, unlocking chambers of remembrance within you. So take a breath. Imagine the soundless music rising within your chest. Feel it expand like a hidden cathedral of light. And know this: you are about to enter the frequency of God. Chapter 1. The Hidden Current. There is a river that flows beneath every thought, beneath every heartbeat, beneath every star, an invisible current that carries all things into being. That river is the frequency of God. To step into it is to feel the very fabric of reality soften in your hands, to know that life is not rigid stone, but pliable clay, shaping itself in response to the vibration you hold within. You have felt it before, though you may not have named it. It came to you in moments of profound silence, when the chatter of the world fell away and you stood in stillness so pure that time itself seemed to pause. It came when your heart opened fully, when you held a newborn child, when you watched the sky erupt in colors at dusk, when you fell in love and the air itself seemed charged with electricity. In those moments, you were not separate from creation. You were creation, pulsing with the same rhythm that birthed the galaxies. That rhythm is the frequency of God. But here is the truth few dare to accept. This frequency is not reserved for saints, mystics, or angels. It hums within you right now, waiting for recognition. The tragedy is that most live their entire lives deaf to its call, distracted by the noise of fear and the static of doubt. They tune into stations of lack and wonder why wealth does not flow. They broadcast worry and wonder why peace escapes them. They hold bitterness and wonder why love feels distant. The universe can only echo back the frequency you transmit. I once knew a man who lived in constant despair. Though he worked hard, money always slipped through his fingers. Though he longed for love, every relationship ended in heartbreak. He prayed, he begged, he pleaded, but his prayers were soaked in desperation. Then one night, when the weight became unbearable, he wandered to the edge of a quiet lake. There, staring into the still waters, he finally surrendered. He whispered not a plea, but a simple acknowledgement. I am ready to feel the truth of who I am. In that moment, the silence wrapped him like a cloak, and for the first time in his life, he felt the frequency of God vibrating through his very being. It was not loud, not dramatic. It was a steady hum, as if the entire universe breathed with him. From that night, his life began to turn. Opportunities flowed, love found him, peace anchored him. Not because God suddenly favored him, but because he had tuned himself to the station that was always broadcasting. You see, the frequency of God is not an external gift, it is an inner attunement. Just as a radio must be tuned to the right frequency to receive music, your soul must be tuned to the divine resonance to receive the fullness of life. The music is always there. The only question is, are you tuned in? Let me give you another parable. Imagine two travelers standing before a vast golden harp suspended in the sky. The strings stretch beyond sight, each vibrating with a different note of creation. The first traveler plucks a string of fear, and instantly his life is filled with shadows, closed doors, and loneliness. The second traveler plucks a string of gratitude, and his life becomes illuminated, filled with friends, abundance, and opportunity. The harp itself does not choose who is blessed and who is cursed. It only responds to the touch of the traveler. The frequency of God is this harp. Life will echo whatever string you choose to play. So how do you play the higher strings? How do you shift from the noise of survival to the harmony of creation? It begins with awareness. Right now, as you listen, pause. Feel the rhythm of your own breathing. Listen, not with your ears, but with the vastness of your inner self. Beneath the surface of your thoughts, can you sense it? That subtle hum, that vibration in the silence, that invisible current moving through you. That is the frequency of God. It is not distant. It is here, now, and always. And as you notice it, you begin to understand you are not a powerless passenger in this universe. You are a conductor of its symphony. Every thought is a note, every emotion a chord, every belief a melody. When you align your inner music with the frequency of God, life itself begins to dance with you. Doors open without effort, abundance flows without struggle, miracles unfold as naturally as flowers in spring. This is not poetry, it is law. Just as water always finds its level, energy always matches its frequency. And when you embody the divine frequency, the world reshapes itself to reflect that vibration. Now, I will guide you into your first sacred practice. Close your eyes. Place your hand gently on your chest. Breathe in slowly, as though you are drawing light itself into your lungs. Hold it for a moment, feel it expand, then release it like a wave returning to the ocean. With every inhale, imagine you are tuning yourself closer to the frequency of love, peace, and abundance. With every exhale, release the static, the doubts, the fears, the stories that no longer serve you. Do this for several breaths. And as you do, whisper within, I am aligned with the frequency of God. Notice what stirs inside you. It may be subtle, a warmth, a tingling, a sense of expansion. That is the beginning. That is the harp string vibrating in your favor. The more you practice, the clearer the music becomes, until one day it is not a whisper, but a song, guiding every step of your life. This is only the beginning of your journey into the frequency of God. Chapter 2. The Language of Vibration. The universe does not speak in words as you know them. It does not speak in the language of grammar or logic. It speaks in resonance, in vibration, in the silent pulse of frequency. Every star, every stone, every breath is part of this cosmic language. And when you learn to listen, not with your ears, but with the inner ear of the Spirit, you begin to understand the frequency of God. Think of a tuning fork struck in a quiet room. Its note hums in the air, invisible but undeniable, causing nearby objects to tremble in sympathy. This is resonance, the secret law that what vibrates at the same frequency is drawn together. You are not separate from this law. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, sends out a frequency into the field. And the field, being law, cannot resist. It must return to you that which matches your vibration. This is why fear attracts more fear, joy attracts more joy, and gratitude multiplies itself. It is not personal, it is principle. The frequency of God is simply the highest octave of this law, the pure vibration that underlies all creation. Now consider this. Most people go through life as if they were broken instruments. Their strings are slackened by worry, tightened by resentment, frayed by regret, and then they wonder why the song of their life sounds discordant. But a master musician knows that even the most neglected instrument can be tuned. The frequency of God is the eternal pitch that all things can tune themselves against. You too can be retuned. You can lift your vibration from static to symphony. Let me tell you a story. There was once a woman named Ilara who lived in a small village shadowed by mountains. Her days were filled with labor, her nights with longing. She prayed for abundance, but her prayers were bitter, coated with despair. "Why do you not bless me?" she asked the heavens. One evening, an old traveler came through the village. He carried no possessions but a small wooden flute. He stayed the night at the inn where Ilara worked, and before sleep he played a melody so pure it seemed to weave light into the darkness. Tears filled Ilara's eyes. "Where did you learn to play so beautifully?" she asked. The traveler smiled and replied, "The flute was always capable of this song. I simply tuned it." Those words struck her deeper than the music. She realized her own soul was the instrument, and the universe was waiting for her to tune to its frequency. From that night, she no longer prayed in desperation, but in gratitude, as if her abundance was already present. She walked lighter, she spoke kinder, she breathed deeper, and slowly her life transformed. Work became opportunity. Strangers became allies. Her empty pockets filled with provision. She had not been punished before, nor newly rewarded. She had simply changed her frequency, and the universe answered in kind. Do you see? The frequency of God is not about asking, pleading, or convincing the heavens to favor you. It is about attunement. When you match the vibration of abundance, abundance finds you. When you embody the frequency of love, love appears. When you radiate peace, peace surrounds you. Pause here and reflect. What station have you been tuned to lately? The static of doubt? The hum of fear? Or the melody of faith? Be honest, for the field does not respond to appearances. It responds to essence. The music you carry inside is already shaping the events around you. Let us go deeper. Modern science has confirmed what mystics have known for ages. The entire universe is vibration. String theory suggests that the fundamental building blocks of reality are not particles, but tiny vibrating strings. Quantum physics reveals that observation influences the behavior of energy. Even water, when exposed to words of love or hate, shifts its crystalline form. If water can respond to vibration, how much more can the field of possibility that holds your life? Now, here is where the mystery becomes practical. You cannot simply think one thought of abundance and expect the world to rearrange instantly. For a single note does not make a song. It is consistency of vibration that creates reality. The frequency of God is steady, unwavering. To align with it, you must hold your vibration long enough for reality to harmonize. This is the work of the inner musician. Picture your life as a vast cathedral, each stone and arch a reflection of your inner frequency. If your vibration wavers from fear to faith, from gratitude to complaint, your cathedral will crack and shake. But if you hold steady, if you allow the resonance of God to sing through you without interruption, the entire structure stabilizes and glows with divine light. Chapter 3. The Mirror of Sound. Every frequency you hold within becomes a mirror that reflects itself outward. Life does not respond to what you wish for with your lips. It responds to what you vibrate with your being. This is the hidden scripture. Reality is not carved in stone, but sung into form. The frequency of God is the original song, the first vibration that called light out of darkness and shaped galaxies from the void. And you, made in the image of that sound, are a singer too. When you look around at your life, the abundance or lack, the harmony or chaos, the love or loneliness, you are not looking at random fate. You are looking at an orchestra playing back the notes you have unconsciously broadcast. Some recoil at this truth because it strips away the comfort of blaming circumstance. Yet it is the most liberating revelation. For if your vibration created what is, then your vibration can create what will be. Imagine standing before a great mirror that does not reflect your physical form but your frequency. If you vibrate with fear, the mirror shows storms, shadows, and blocked paths. If you vibrate with gratitude, the mirror shows open fields, golden harvests, and flowing rivers. Whatever you hold inside, this mirror magnifies into your reality. Most walk through life staring at their reflection, trying to fight or fix what they see, not realizing the true work lies in changing the vibration they are projecting. Let me tell you a story of two brothers, twins born under the same roof, raised with the same means. One lived constantly in bitterness, convinced the world was unfair, and everywhere he went, doors closed, faces turned away, opportunities slipped. The other chose gratitude. He gave thanks even for small things. He saw blessings in disguise. He smiled often. And everywhere he went, doors opened, help appeared, wealth found its way to him. When asked what secret path he had discovered, he only laughed and said, "I did not change the world, I changed my song." This is the mystery you must understand. The frequency of God is not just out there, it is in you. Every word you speak vibrates into the field. Every emotion hums into existence. Every thought radiates outward like ripples in water. And the field, being perfect law, reflects it back multiplied. If you broadcast static, life answers with static. If you broadcast harmony, life answers with harmony. Now pause here. Think of a moment when you were overcome with joy. Perhaps you received news you had been waiting for. Perhaps you laughed until tears filled your eyes. Perhaps you stood in awe at a sunset. In that moment, did you notice how everything seemed to conspire in your favor? Strangers smiled at you, small synchronicities appeared, even traffic seemed to part. This is no accident. You had aligned, however briefly, with the frequency of God, and reality mirrored it instantly. But the true mastery is not in fleeting moments, it is in consistency. Like a violinist who practices daily until her notes become effortless, you must learn to hold your vibration steady. The universe does not answer the occasional spark, it answers the sustained flame. The frequency of God is unwavering, it is the eternal hum beneath existence. To dwell in it, you must learn constancy of resonance. Science, too, whispers this truth. Consider cymatics, the study of sound forming patterns in matter. When sand or water is exposed to certain frequencies, intricate geometrical shapes appear, each more complex and beautiful as the frequency rises. If a simple note can arrange particles into sacred patterns, what do you think your steady vibration can arrange in the vast field of your life? Every situation you face, every outcome you seek, is like sand on the plate of existence. Strike the right frequency and the pattern forms. Strike a discordant one and chaos reigns. There is a story from the desert sages of old. They spoke of a city built not by hands but by sound. The elders would gather at dawn, lifting their voices in harmony, and stone would shift, walls would rise, arches would stand. The people knew the secret, that matter is obedient to vibration, and that the frequency of God carries the highest command. Whether legend or truth, the parable remains clear. When you harmonize with the divine sound, creation bends to your resonance. And so the question becomes, how do you shift your mirror? How do you retune your song? First, you must become aware of your inner music. Throughout your day, pause and ask yourself, what frequency am I broadcasting now? If you are anxious, you are sending out dissonance. If you are grateful, you are sending out harmony. Do not judge yourself. Observe and gently shift the note. Awareness is the first tuning fork. Second, you must learn the practice of replacement. A discordant thought cannot simply be resisted, it must be replaced. If fear whispers, "I may lose everything," replace it with the vibration of assurance. I am held by the frequency of God, and abundance flows to me. Speak it not as desperate denial, but as steady truth. Repeat it until your body hums with its resonance. Over time, the mirror changes. Third, you must sustain your song through ritual. Just as musicians rehearse daily, you too must engage in sacred practices that anchor your vibration. Morning gratitude, evening silence, breath work, visualization, all these are ways of tuning yourself again and again. The frequency of God is unwavering. Your task is to bring yourself into its constancy. Now, let us enter a sacred practice together. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply, as if you are breathing in the soundless song of creation itself. Hold it. Let it vibrate within your chest. Then exhale slowly, sending that vibration outward into the world. Do this 3 times. Now, place your attention on your heart, not the beating muscle, but the radiant center within your chest. Imagine it as a golden harp, each string representing a frequency: love, peace, abundance, joy. Slowly, in your imagination, pluck the string of love. Feel the vibration move through you. Then pluck the string of abundance. Feel the hum extend into the space around you. With each string you touch, say softly, "This is my song, this is my frequency." Stay here until you feel the air itself has shifted, until you know the mirror is already beginning to change. When you open your eyes, notice how the world greets you differently. A subtle calm, a quiet flow, a softness in the edges of reality. This is not fantasy, it is law. You have sung and the field has heard. Understand this: the frequency of God is the most faithful mirror you will ever encounter. It does not lie, it does not delay, it does not discriminate, it simply reflects. And when you choose to hold the higher vibration, the reflection becomes radiant, abundant, holy. So, I ask you, what reflection will you create from this moment forward? Will you sing discord, or will you sing divinity? The mirror waits for your answer. Chapter 4. The Field of Light. There is an unseen field that surrounds you at every moment, an ocean of energy in which all things float, connect, and take form. Mystics called it the ether. Physicists name it the quantum field. Sages described it as the womb of creation. But in truth, it is nothing less than the living canvas of God. On this field, every thought is a brushstroke, every emotion a color, every vibration a shape waiting to be revealed. The frequency of God is the master current that moves across this field, ordering chaos into cosmos, possibility into form. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in a vast cathedral of light. The walls are not stone, but woven strands of energy, shimmering and alive. You move your hand, and the strands ripple. You think a thought, and the entire cathedral responds, glowing, shifting, aligning. This is no fantasy. This is what is happening every moment of your life. You are standing in the cathedral of the field, shaping it with the vibration you carry. Whether you know it or not, you are always painting reality on the invisible canvas. But here lies the forgotten truth. Most paint unconsciously. They splash the field with strokes of fear, colors of doubt, patterns of resentment. Then they step back in dismay, asking why the painting looks so bleak. Yet the field never judges, it simply reflects. The frequency of God is like the master's brush. It will always bring harmony if you allow it to guide your strokes. I once knew of a woman named Soraya who lived through years of struggle. Her life was a constant repetition of hardship, debts piling, relationships crumbling, her body weary. She believed she was cursed. But one day, a mentor told her, "Your life is not cursed. Your field is filled with the echoes of your despair. Change your frequency, and the field will paint a new picture." She doubted at first, but decided to try. Every morning, instead of rehearsing her problems, she began speaking gratitude for small things: the warmth of sunlight, the breath in her lungs, the sound of rain on her window. Every night, instead of replaying her mistakes, she visualized her life as abundant, harmonious, radiant. Slowly, she noticed changes: unexpected opportunities, gentle kindness from strangers, strength returning to her body. Within a year, her debts were resolved, a loving partner had entered her life, and she described her days as miraculous. The field had not changed. It was her song within the field that transformed her reality. What happened to her is not unique. It is the law of resonance at work. The field of light is like a vast pool of water. If you drop a stone of anger, the ripples spread and return as conflict. If you drop a stone of gratitude, the ripples return as blessing. And when you drop the stone of divine frequency, the steady hum of God's vibration, the ripples return as miracles. Pause and feel this. Right now, your thoughts are rippling into the field. Every feeling you hold is shaping the light that surrounds you. You are never powerless. You are never abandoned. You are broadcasting into the field, and the field is faithfully mirroring you. Science, once again, confirms what mystics have always whispered. The double-slit experiment showed that particles behave differently when observed. This means consciousness itself alters reality. You are not a passive observer. You are a participant, a co-creator, a brush in the hand of the infinite, and the color you paint with is frequency. When you align with the frequency of God, your brushstrokes glow with light that cannot fade. Think of music. A single note can be beautiful, but when held, layered, harmonized, it becomes a symphony that fills the air with power. So too with vibration. A single moment of gratitude is powerful, but when sustained, gratitude becomes an atmosphere, an environment that transforms your world. This is why ritual matters. This is why discipline matters. Not because God is far, but because you must keep your string tuned long enough for the song to take form in the field. There is an ancient parable told in the East. A student asked his master, "Why do I not see the results of my meditation? I sit each day, yet nothing changes." The master led him to a stone basin and instructed him to pour water into it drop by drop. After many drops, the water level barely rose. The student grew impatient, but the master smiled and said, "Keep pouring." Eventually, the water overflowed, spilling onto the ground. "Do you see?" the master asked. Each drop seemed insignificant, yet together they moved the unmovable. So too with your vibration. Each moment you align adds to the overflow. The frequency of God is steady, and when you sustain it, the field must yield. So how do you enter this field consciously, not as a wanderer, but as a creator? It begins with recognition. Acknowledge that the invisible is more real than the visible. What you see is the echo, not the source. The true substance is in the unseen field, in the frequency you carry. Then, cultivate the inner state you wish to see reflected outward. Feel abundance before it arrives. Radiate love before it knocks. Embody peace before the storm passes. This is the art of living by frequency, not circumstance. Now let us move into a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself standing in a vast field of golden light. The air is shimmering, alive, waiting for your touch. Slowly raise your hand and imagine it glowing with the vibration of your choosing. Abundance, love, peace, joy. As your hand glows, extend it outward into the field. Watch as ripples of light spread in every direction, painting new patterns, weaving new possibilities. Whisper softly, "The field responds to my frequency." Say it again until you feel the truth resonate in your chest. Then, stand still and let the frequency of God wash through you, harmonizing your being with the cosmic symphony. Stay here for a few breaths. When you open your eyes, notice how the room itself feels alive, as if the air has shifted. You have entered the field consciously. You have tuned yourself to the frequency that creates worlds. This is your inheritance, not to stumble blindly through chance, but to walk as a creator in the cathedral of light. The field is waiting. The brush is in your hand. The frequency of God is the eternal song beneath it all. The only question is, what will you paint next? Chapter 5. The Door of Silence. There is a door within you, a hidden threshold that few ever cross. It is not a door of wood or iron, not a door built by hands, but a door of silence. Behind it lies the secret chamber, where the frequency of God vibrates unceasingly, unbroken by noise, untouched by chaos. To enter this door is to step out of the static of the world and into the clear song of creation itself. Most live their lives never approaching this door. They fill their days with chatter, their nights with distraction, their hearts with restless echoes. They believe silence is emptiness, but silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is the womb of sound, the seed of creation, the field where frequency is born. Those who fear silence fear the very place where God speaks. For God does not thunder from the heavens, He hums within your being, and His hum is the law that sustains all things. There is a story of an emperor who sought wisdom. He summoned sages from every corner of the land and asked them, "What is the voice of God?" Some spoke of thunder, others of scripture, still others of prophecy. Unsatisfied, the emperor sent for a humble hermit who lived in the mountains. When the hermit arrived, the emperor asked him the same question. The hermit closed his eyes, smiled, and said nothing. The emperor grew impatient. "Speak, old man!" But the hermit only whispered, "Silence is the voice of God." At first the emperor was enraged, but later, in the stillness of the night, he understood. In the silence he heard the hum. Steady, eternal, the very frequency of God. This is the paradox. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of the highest sound. Beneath the noise of your thoughts, beneath the drumbeat of your heart, beneath the movement of galaxies, there is a hum. Some call it Aum, some call it Logos, some call it the divine pulse. But whatever name you give it, it is the frequency of God. Close your eyes for a moment, and you will sense it. The mind may race at first, tossing distractions like stones into water. But if you remain, if you wait, the ripples calm. Then, in the stillness, you will notice a subtle vibration, gentle, steady, without beginning or end. That is the door of silence opening. That is the soundless sound inviting you in. Why is silence so powerful? Because it strips away the interference. Imagine trying to hear a delicate violin in the middle of a roaring crowd. You may strain, but the noise drowns it out. Only when the crowd falls silent can the true melody be heard. In the same way, the frequency of God is always playing, but the noise of fear, worry, and distraction makes it inaudible. When you enter silence, you quiet the crowd, and suddenly the melody becomes clear. Let me tell you of a man named Jonah. He was a merchant, constantly busy. His mind a whirlwind of numbers, deals, and worries. His wealth grew, but his peace shrank. One day, exhausted, he collapsed in his study. In that still moment, with no strength left to think, he felt something he had never noticed before. A steady vibration in his chest, a hum that was not his own, yet also entirely his own. For the first time, he sat in silence and listened. That hum became his teacher. Day by day, he returned to it. His wealth did not vanish, but it no longer consumed him. He became known not just as a successful merchant, but as a man of peace. People sought his presence not for his riches, but for the frequency he carried. His silence became a blessing to all who met him. Do you see? Silence is not withdrawal, it is power. When you attune to the frequency of God through silence, you carry it into the world. Your words gain weight, your actions carry clarity, your very presence shifts atmospheres. This is why mystics could calm storms with a gesture, heal with a word, or ignite faith with a glance. They had tuned themselves in silence to the eternal frequency, and that vibration radiated outward like light from the sun. You may wonder, how can I enter this door of silence in my own life? The practice is simple, though not always easy. Find a quiet place. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Let your breath slow. When thoughts arise, and they will, do not fight them. Let them pass like clouds across the sky. Beneath them, feel for the hum, the steady vibration that does not change. Do not strain, do not chase. Simply allow it to reveal itself. In time, you will feel as if you are floating in an ocean of soundless music, a living stillness that fills every cell. That is the frequency of God. Here is a sacred practice for you now. Sit with me in stillness. Breathe in slowly, filling your lungs with air as if you are drawing light itself. Hold for a moment. Then exhale, releasing every tension, every thought. Do this 3 times. Now, place your awareness on the space between your thoughts. Do not force, just notice. In that space, there is a vibration. Subtle, quiet, steady. That is the hum of God. Whisper softly within, I am attuned to the silence. I am aligned with the frequency of God. Repeat it until the words themselves dissolve and only the hum remains. Stay here as long as you can. The longer you dwell, the clearer the frequency becomes, until it is no longer faint but radiant. When you rise from this practice, notice how the world feels different. Sounds are sharper, colors more vivid, burdens lighter. This is not imagination, it is alignment. You have entered the door of silence, and the frequency of God now echoes through you. Understand this. Silence is the master key. It is the tuning chamber of the soul. It is the place where interference ends and resonance begins. Every saint, every prophet, every mystic who ever touched the divine did so by entering the silence. And you too can enter. You need no ritual, no temple, no sacred text. You need only the willingness to listen beneath the noise, to open the door that has always been within. The door of silence is not distant. It is here, now, waiting for you. And once you step through, you will never again feel powerless, for you will know that the frequency of God is not something you seek, but something you carry. Chapter 6. The Song of Abundance. There is a melody woven into the fabric of creation, a song that has no beginning and no end. It is the song of abundance, the rhythm of overflowing life, the steady proof that the universe is not a barren desert but an infinite garden. This song is the frequency of God expressed as provision, as generosity, as the endless giving of life to itself. To hear it is to awaken to the truth that lack is an illusion, and abundance is the natural state of existence. Look to the earth and see the pattern. A single seed becomes a forest, a single drop becomes a river, a single breath expands into the symphony of life. The tree does not hoard its fruit, the river does not ration its water, the sun does not limit its light. They give because giving is the essence of the divine frequency. In their silence, they testify, God is abundance. Yet humans, blinded by fear, often live as though scarcity were the law. They grasp, they hoard, they compete, forgetting that the field they live in is limitless. They closed their hands around crumbs and missed the banquet spread before them. They begged for drops while standing in oceans. This is the great tragedy of forgetfulness: to starve in the midst of plenty, to thirst beside a flowing stream. But the moment you tune yourself to the frequency of God, the illusion of scarcity dissolves. You realize that abundance is not something you must chase, it is something you must allow. It is not locked away in banks or hidden in vaults. It vibrates in the field, waiting for you to match its song. When you align with that song, you become a magnet for provision, for wealth, for opportunity. You do not steal it from another, you draw it from the infinite. Let me share a story. There was once a man named Elias, who lived in a small town where work was scarce and worry was plenty. He struggled for years, always one step away from poverty. His pockets were empty, and so was his heart. One day, desperate, he sought out an old teacher who lived alone by the river. "Why does abundance avoid me?" Elias asked. The teacher smiled and handed him a flute. "Play," Elias frowned. "I do not know how," the teacher insisted. Reluctantly, Elias blew into the flute, and the sound was awkward, broken, unpleasant. He shook his head in frustration. The teacher then took the flute, tuned it gently, and played a melody so beautiful that the river seemed to dance. "You see," the teacher said, "abundance is like this melody. It does not avoid you. You are simply out of tune. Tune yourself, and the song will play through you." Elias took those words to heart. He began practicing gratitude daily, speaking not of what he lacked but of what he had. He stopped cursing his misfortune and began blessing every small blessing. Slowly, his life shifted. A job appeared, then an opportunity, then a partnership. Within years, he became one of the wealthiest men in the town, known not for greed but for generosity. His secret was not labor alone. It was vibration. He had tuned himself to the song of abundance. This parable holds the law. Abundance is frequency, not circumstance. You do not wait for money to feel wealthy. You feel wealthy to attract money. You do not wait for love to feel whole. You feel whole to attract love. The frequency of God is abundance itself, and when you vibrate with it, life mirrors it back. Pause now and feel into this truth. Think of the breath in your lungs, an endless gift you did not earn, a constant stream that asks nothing of you but to receive. That is abundance. Think of the sunlight that touches your skin without cost, without limit. That is abundance. Think of the countless cells working within you, the trillions of stars burning above you, the ceaseless cycles of life unfolding around you. That is abundance. You are swimming in an ocean of provision, yet how often do you act as if you were stranded in a desert? This is why gratitude is the master key. Gratitude tunes you to the song of abundance. When you give thanks, you align your vibration with the frequency of provision, and the field responds by multiplying your blessings. To complain is to vibrate lack. To give thanks is to vibrate plenty. The field mirrors whichever song you choose. Science, too, has glimpsed this mystery. Studies have shown that gratitude rewires the brain, shifts hormones, strengthens the heart. Gratitude is not mere politeness, it is resonance. It lifts your frequency, aligning you with the abundance that already surrounds you. Now, let us enter a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Place your hand gently over your heart. Take a slow breath in. Then, exhale. Whisper softly, "Thank you." With your next breath, think of something small, a glass of water, a kind word, the warmth of this very moment. Whisper again, "Thank you." With each breath, allow your gratitude to expand. Thank the air. Thank the body that carries you. Thank the unseen forces that sustain you. Let your heart swell until it feels as though gratitude itself is overflowing into the room. Stay here, repeating thank you until the words become less a phrase and more a vibration humming through your being. This is the Song of Abundance. As you rise from this practice, notice how life greets you differently. A gentle flow begins, synchronicities appear, doors crack open. This is not chance, it is resonance. You have played the melody, and the field has answered. Understand this. Wealth is not a number in a ledger. Wealth is a frequency. Money is simply one expression of it, but true abundance flows in health, in love, in peace, in opportunities. When you align with the frequency of God, every form of wealth becomes natural. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you embody. You no longer fear, you know. And once you discover this truth, you are called to live not in hoarding, but in sharing. For abundance grows in the giving. Like the tree, like the river, like the sun, you were created to overflow. The more you give, the more the field flows through you, for the frequency of God cannot be dammed, it must move. And when you become a channel of that movement, your life becomes an endless fountain. So I ask you, will you continue singing the song of scarcity, or will you tune to the song of abundance? The choice is always before you. The field is always listening. The frequency of God is always ready to play through you. Chapter 7. The Law of Resonance. All of creation moves according to resonance. You have seen it in sound, in light, in the harmony of instruments, but perhaps you have not yet recognized how it shapes every moment of your life. Resonance is the invisible law that causes like to call unto like, that draws together frequencies that vibrate as one. And at its highest octave, resonance becomes the frequency of God, the great alignment that holds galaxies in orbit and guides the unfolding of destiny. Imagine standing in a hall filled with tuning forks. Strike one, and those tuned to the same pitch begin to hum in sympathy, though you never touch them. This is resonance. In the same way, when you vibrate with peace, you draw peaceful experiences. When you vibrate with fear, you summon fearful echoes. The universe does not reward or punish, it resonates. It responds to the song you carry. But here is where the mystery deepens. The frequency of God is the purest resonance, the master pitch. When you attune to it, your entire being harmonizes, and everything in the field begins to echo that divine vibration. Doors open without effort, opportunities align as if choreographed, relationships blossom, health strengthens. Not because fate has shifted, but because resonance has taken hold. Let me share a parable. There was a village built in a valley that often suffered storms. The people lived in constant fear, reinforcing their homes with stone, yet still the floods came. But on a hill above the valley lived a woman named Amira. Her house was simple, her walls were thin, yet it never fell. When asked her secret, she said, "I do not resist the storms, I resonate with the stillness beyond them." Confused, the villagers mocked her. Yet year after year, her home stood while theirs faltered. One day, desperate, a villager asked her to teach him. Amira led him into silence, teaching him to feel the steady hum beneath the chaos, the vibration that does not change. "This is the frequency of God," she said. "When you carry it, your life resonates with stability, no matter the storm." Slowly, the villager learned. His fear lessened, his heart steadied, and soon his home, too, remained untouched by the floods. The storms of life will come. They are part of the world's song. But when you resonate with the divine pitch, you are no longer broken by them. You remain aligned, steady, radiant. This is the law of resonance. You cannot control the storm, but you can control your song, and the storm cannot resist the stronger vibration. Science has glimpsed this law. Consider two pendulum clocks placed side by side. At first, their swings are out of sync, but over time they synchronize. Energy seeks harmony. Or consider two instruments. Play one string and its neighbor vibrates in sympathy. Resonance is not belief, it is law. And your body, mind, and spirit are instruments too. Whatever you allow them to vibrate with will draw its echo in the world around you. Think of your own life. Have you noticed how moods attract similar moods? When you radiate joy, others smile more easily. When you carry heaviness, rooms grow tense. These are not coincidences, they are echoes. The world mirrors your resonance. But here lies the hidden power. You are not a passive instrument waiting to be struck. You are the player. You choose the pitch you hold. And when you hold it steadily, the field must resonate with you. This is why masters of spirit could walk into chaos and bring peace, enter poverty and bring abundance, face hatred and radiate love. They were not reacting, they were broadcasting. And their resonance was stronger than the noise around them. Pause here and reflect. What have you been resonating with lately? Has it been fear, resentment, doubt? Or has it been faith, gratitude, love? Be honest, for the law cannot be tricked. It does not answer your words, it answers your vibration. Yet know this, resonance is merciful. The moment you shift your frequency, the echoes begin to change. You need not wait years, you need only align. Like striking a single note, the field responds instantly, though the full melody takes time to unfold. There is a story told of a monk who traveled with a bowl for alms. Some days the bowl remained empty, and he would thank the emptiness. Other days the bowl overflowed, and he would thank the abundance. When asked why he treated both the same, he replied, "I do not resonate with the gift, I resonate with the giver, and the giver is infinite." That monk never starved, for his resonance of gratitude tuned him to endless provision. So how do you align yourself with the frequency of God through resonance? First, you must cleanse the instrument. Just as dust can mute a violin, fear and resentment can dull your vibration. Release them. Forgive. Let go. Breathe deeply. Each release raises your pitch. Second, you must practice constancy. Strike the note again and again until it becomes natural. Gratitude each morning. Silence each evening. Love spoken aloud. These are not rituals of duty but of resonance. They keep your frequency steady. Third, you must carry your resonance into the world. Do not keep it private. Let it radiate. When you walk into a room, let your vibration of peace spread. When you speak, let your words carry abundance. When you touch, let your hands hum with love. The frequency of God does not whisper only in meditation, it sings in your daily life. Now, let us enter a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself as a great instrument, a harp of light. Each string is a vibration. Peace, love, abundance, joy. Slowly, choose one string, perhaps love, and pluck it in your mind. Feel its hum moving through your chest. Now pluck peace. Feel the calm spread into your limbs. Now pluck abundance. Feel the vibration expand beyond your body, filling the room. Finally, pluck joy. Let the soundless music rise like a chorus. Whisper within, "I am resonance. I am tuned to the frequency of God." Repeat until you feel your whole being humming with light. As you open your eyes, notice how the air feels different, softer, more alive. This is not imagination, it is resonance. You have tuned yourself, and the field is already responding. Understand this: the law of resonance is unbreakable. You cannot escape it, but you can master it. And when you master it, life ceases to feel random. You no longer wander, you conduct. You no longer plead, you broadcast. You no longer chase, you attract. The frequency of God is the purest resonance. Align with it, and your life becomes a song the universe cannot resist. Chapter 8. The Architecture of Thought. Every thought is a brick. Every emotion is mortar. Every belief is a blueprint. With these, you are building a house each day, a structure invisible yet unshakable, the architecture of your reality. Few realize it, but every room they walk through, every door that opens or remains closed, every window of opportunity is built from the architecture of their thought. And beneath this construction, the foundation is frequency. At the deepest level, every thought vibrates, every belief hums. The strongest resonance among them becomes the architecture that surrounds you. This is why the frequency of God is not merely poetry but principle. It is the master vibration that, if you align with it, redesigns the very walls of your life. Think of a cathedral. Its spires rise, its arches lift, its stained glass glows. Not by accident, but by design. The builders saw the vision before they laid a single stone. They held the pattern in their minds, and their hands made it flesh. So too with you. The cathedral of your life is being built by the architecture of your thoughts. Hold small visions, and you build a cottage. Hold fearful visions, and you build a prison. Hold divine visions, and you build a palace of light. But here is where most falter. They attempt to decorate their prison with words of abundance, without changing the blueprint itself. They paint gratitude over fear. They speak wealth while vibrating lack. They mouth prayers while doubting in secret. The walls do not shift because the foundation remains unchanged. The frequency of God cannot be faked. It must be embodied. Let me tell you a story. There was once a mason named Ravid who worked tirelessly on the city's walls. Day after day, he carried stone, but inside, he carried resentment. I am poor. I am forgotten. I am nothing. Though his hands built towers, his inner architecture was a prison. One night, weary, he dreamed of a great temple filled with light. In the dream, a voice whispered, "The stones you carry in thought are heavier than those you carry in hand. Build differently." When he awoke, he began small. Each morning, before lifting a stone, he whispered within, "I am strength, I am peace, I am light." At first, nothing changed outside, but within weeks, his heart felt lighter, his face brighter. Others noticed, opportunities found him, and soon he was no longer a laborer but a master builder, designing great halls. His outer life changed because his inner blueprint had shifted. This is the law. Your thoughts are not private. They are vibrations broadcast into the field. They hum into the architecture of reality. What you dwell on consistently becomes your dwelling place physically. If you saturate your inner world with fear, you build a house of fear. If you saturate it with faith, you build a palace of miracles. Pause now and reflect. What thoughts have you been laying as bricks today? Are you building walls of lack or windows of abundance? Are you constructing hallways of worry or gardens of joy? Be honest, for the structure does not lie. The life around you is the blueprint revealed. But here is the grace. Blueprints can change. At any moment, you may set down the stone of fear and lift the stone of faith. At any moment, you may redraw the design, shifting from a prison to a palace. The frequency of God is the architect's compass. It guides your hand, aligns your lines, and ensures that what you build resonates with truth. Science has caught glimpses of this law. Neuroscience shows that repeated thoughts carve pathways in the brain, shaping perception, behavior, and even physical health. The brain, like clay, reshapes itself to match the frequencies it receives. Psychology confirms the same. Beliefs shape outcomes, self-concept becomes prophecy. Spiritual law simply goes deeper, declaring, thought is frequency. Frequency shapes the field shapes reality. Consider also the law of focus. Whatever you focus on expands, because focus is a magnifying glass of vibration. Focus on lack, and lack multiplies. Focus on abundance, and abundance blossoms. The frequency of God is the highest focus, for it lifts your gaze from circumstance to truth, from limitation to infinity. Another story illustrates this well. A young artist named Mira dreamed of painting masterpieces, but her life was filled with criticism. Her family told her she was foolish, her teachers said she lacked talent, her friends laughed at her dreams. She absorbed their words as bricks, and soon her inner house was filled with walls of doubt. For years, she painted nothing. One day, in despair, she wandered into an old chapel. On its walls were paintings centuries old, still glowing with beauty. Beneath one, an inscription read, "These stones endure not by hands alone, but by thought sanctified." Mira wept. She realized the painters who built this beauty must have held divine visions, ignoring the noise of doubt. She returned home and began again, not painting first, but building within. Each day she declared, "I am chosen to create beauty. My art is light. My gift is sacred." Slowly, her architecture shifted, and soon her brush moved as if guided by the frequency of God. Within years, her paintings hung in galleries, and those who once doubted now sought her wisdom. She had built a new house, and within it, abundance lived. This is your invitation, to redesign the architecture of thought. Now, let us enter a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself standing before a house. Look closely. It is the house of your current thoughts. What does it look like? Is it crumbling? Is it dark? Or is it strong, filled with light? Do not judge, just observe. Now, imagine the frequency of God descending like golden light upon this house. See the walls dissolve, the roof fall away, until only light remains. From this light, watch as a new house rises, designed by divine resonance. Its walls are strong, its windows wide, its halls filled with music. Walk inside. Feel the vibration of peace in its stones, the hum of abundance in its beams, the glow of love in its rooms. Whisper softly, "This is my dwelling. This is the house I build with the frequency of God." Stay here until you feel the new blueprint etched into your being. When you open your eyes, know this: you have begun construction anew. From this day forward, each thought you choose is a brick, each feeling a beam, each belief a foundation. Build carefully, build beautifully, build in resonance with the divine song. Understand this: you are not condemned to live in houses built by the carelessness of yesterday. You are an architect of eternity, and the materials are within your mind. Align with the frequency of God, and you will build palaces where others see ruins, gardens where others see deserts, light where others see shadows. Your life is your cathedral. What will you design today? Chapter 9. The Pulse of Creation. There is a heartbeat that underlies everything. a rhythm steady, ancient, eternal. It beats beneath the waves of the ocean, beneath the branches of the trees, beneath the rise and fall of your own chest. This heartbeat is not the sound of flesh or the ticking of clocks. It is the pulse of creation itself, the steady rhythm of the frequency of God. To feel it is to know that life is not random, not chaotic, not cruel. To feel it is to realize that all of existence moves to a sacred tempo, and you are part of its dance. When you listen closely, you will sense it. In moments of stillness, when distractions fade, a vibration rises, not loud, but undeniable. It is the pulse that held the cosmos in the beginning, the same pulse that holds you now. And the secret is this: when you align with this pulse, your life flows. When you resist it, your life stumbles. Harmony or discord, both are the result of your alignment with the pulse of creation. Let me tell you a story. There was once a drummer in an ancient tribe whose role was to guide the people in their ceremonies. His drumbeat was the signal for planting, for harvest, for celebration, for mourning. But one year, his drum broke. In despair, he tried to fashion another, but the sound was dull, lifeless. He grew frustrated, and the people grew restless, for without the steady rhythm, they felt lost. One night, he wandered into the forest, and in the stillness, he began to hear it. The rhythm beneath everything. The leaves rustled in time, the wind whistled in a pattern, even his own heartbeat joined the song. He realized then that the drum had never been the true source. The rhythm was always there, the pulse of creation itself. He returned to his people, clapping his hands to the beat he had discovered, and the tribe rejoiced, dancing to the eternal rhythm. From that day on, he was no longer called a drummer, but a keeper of the pulse. This parable reveals the truth. The external tools may fail, the circumstances may shift, but the frequency of God does not stop pulsing. It is steady, unwavering. And when you tune yourself to it, you become unshakable, regardless of what breaks in your outer world. Pause and feel it now. Place your hand over your chest. Listen to your heartbeat, yes, but beneath it, sense the deeper hum, the rhythm that is not only yours, but shared by every living thing. This is the pulse of creation. It is the divine metronome that keeps the universe in order. Science whispers of this pulse. The Schumann resonance, the frequency of the Earth's electromagnetic field, beats around 7.83 Hertz, a rhythm that synchronizes with the brainwaves of meditation and healing. Heart coherence studies reveal that when humans feel gratitude or love, their heartbeat falls into a harmonious rhythm that strengthens health and radiates peace. Musicians know it too. All great symphonies are built on steady tempo. Without rhythm, music collapses into noise. Without the pulse of creation, life collapses into chaos. And yet, how many live out of rhythm? They rush against the natural flow, forcing doors that are not ready to open, clinging to seasons that have already ended. They wonder why life feels heavy, why opportunities resist, why peace eludes them. It is because they are out of sync with the divine pulse. The frequency of God never stumbles, but they have chosen dissonance instead of harmony. But the moment you pause, listen, and align, the music begins again. Suddenly, what was once struggle becomes flow. What was once delay becomes divine timing. What was once confusion becomes clarity. The pulse of creation carries you as the river carries the boat. There is another story of a farmer named Jalen. He toiled endlessly, trying to force the earth to yield crops. He watered when he pleased, planted out of season, harvested too early. His fields suffered. One evening, weary, He sat beside an elder who watched the stars. The elder said, "Why do you fight the pulse? Do you not see the seasons? Do you not feel the rhythm? Align with them, and the earth will give freely." Jalen listened. He began to plant with the rains, harvest with the sun, rest with the winter. Soon his fields flourished, not because he worked harder, but because he worked with the pulse, not against it. This is your invitation too. The frequency of God carries the pulse of abundance, of health, of love, of destiny. When you move with it, life becomes a dance, effortless and beautiful. When you resist it, life becomes a battle. Which will you choose? Here is a sacred practice to help you align. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Place both hands over your heart. Begin to breathe slowly, in rhythm with your heartbeat. Inhale for 4 beats. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold again. As you continue, imagine your heartbeat merging with the heartbeat of the earth, and the earth's heartbeat merging with the pulse of the cosmos. Feel yourself syncing with the great rhythm. Whisper softly within, "I move with the pulse of creation. I live in harmony with the frequency of God." Repeat this until the words dissolve into feeling, and the feeling dissolves into knowing. When you open your eyes, carry this rhythm into your day. Walk as though each step is part of a dance. Speak as though each word is part of a song. Work as though each task is part of a symphony. The pulse will carry you. The frequency of God will sustain you. Understand this. Success is not speed, but alignment. Peace is not absence of challenge, but resonance with the pulse. Abundance is not random luck, but harmony with the rhythm of giving and receiving. Love is not accident, but the echo of your own vibration tuned to the divine song. All of life is music, and you are an instrument within it. When you align with the pulse of creation, the music flows through you unhindered, and your life becomes a masterpiece. The question is not whether the pulse is beating, it always island. The question is whether you are listening, whether you are moving with it, whether you are allowing the frequency of God to guide your steps. Chapter 10. The River of Alignment. Life is not a straight road carved in stone, it is a river. A flowing, bending, shimmering current that moves toward the vast ocean of eternity. Some stand on its banks, afraid to enter. Some wade in timidly, fighting against the stream, exhausting themselves with resistance. But those who learn the secret of alignment, those who surrender to the current and let it carry them, discover that the river itself is the frequency of God. To align with it is to be carried where you were always meant to go, with grace instead of struggle, with flow instead of force. Look at water, and you will see the parable of existence. Water yields, yet nothing can break it. It softens stone, carves valleys, shapes mountains, nourishes forests, quenches deserts. It does not demand, it simply flows. And in its flow is its power. The frequency of God is like this, a river that moves not by force, but by alignment. To step into it is to let life unfold with ease, to trust that the current knows more than the mind, to release the illusion of control and allow the law of resonance to carry you. But most resist, they thrash, they grasp, they cling to branches on the riverbank. They fear being swept away, not realizing that their very resistance is what exhausts them. They cry, "Why is life so hard?" while their knuckles bleed from clinging. Yet the river does not punish, it invites. The moment they release, the moment they surrender, the current lifts them, and they discover that the water was never their enemy, but their path. Let me share a story. A man named Kieran spent his life chasing success. He forced opportunities, manipulated outcomes, worked endlessly, yet peace eluded him. He felt as if he were swimming against an endless tide. One evening, he walked by a river, heavy with failure. An old fisherman sat on the bank, watching his nets drift easily with the current. Kieran asked, "How do you succeed while I fail?" The fisherman smiled and said, "I do not fight the river. I set my nets where it flows." Kieran realized then that he had been striving from fear, forcing doors closed by his own resistance. Slowly, he learned to align, to trust timing, to listen to intuition, to follow the flow rather than resist it. And as he did, opportunities began arriving without struggle. Wealth flowed where before there was only lack. Peace returned to his nights. He had not found a new river. He had finally allowed himself to flow with the one always carrying him. This is the essence of alignment, letting go of resistance and trusting the frequency of God. For resistance is nothing more than disharmony, a vibration that opposes the current. And the law is simple. Whatever you resist, you strengthen. Whatever you align with, you attract. Pause now and ask yourself, where are you resisting? Is it in holding on to a relationship that has ended? Is it in clinging to fear of the future? Is it in forcing outcomes from scarcity? Be honest. For awareness is the first release. Then, ask, where can I flow? Where can I trust? Where can I align? In those questions lies your freedom. Science, too, reflects this truth. Flow states, moments of full alignment between body, mind, and spirit are now studied as the peak of human potential. Athletes, artists, innovators describe them as effortless, timeless, guided by something beyond themselves. In flow, struggle dissolves, and creation becomes natural. This is not random, it is resonance with the river of the frequency of God. There is another parable of a sage who taught his students by leading them to a river. He asked them to cup water in their hands. Some held too tightly, and the water slipped away. Some held too loosely, and it poured out. But those who held gently, neither grasping nor resisting, carried the water with ease. So it is with life, the sage said. Grip too tightly, and you lose it. Hold too loosely, and it escapes. Align with the flow, and it remains. Alignment is not passivity. It is intelligent surrender. It is not drifting aimlessly. It is moving with the strongest current. It is not giving up control. It is realizing that the true power lies not in force, but in resonance. The frequency of God is always flowing, always carrying, always guiding. The only question is whether you will fight it or allow it. Now let us move into a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a great river of light. Its waters shimmer with gold and silver, flowing endlessly toward the horizon. Step into it. At first, you may feel resistance, the habit of control, the urge to fight the current, but slowly release. Imagine yourself lying back, letting the river carry you. Feel the water beneath you, lifting you, supporting you. Breathe deeply, whisper softly, I flow with the frequency of God. I am carried by the current of creation. Repeat it until the words dissolve into feeling, until you feel yourself weightless, held by something greater than yourself. Stay in this vision. Let the river show you where it is carrying you. Perhaps you see visions of abundance, of healing, of love. Perhaps you feel peace deeper than words. Trust it. Know that this is not fantasy, it is alignment. When you open your eyes, carry this state with you. Walk as though the current is beneath your feet, guiding each step. Understand this, every great life flows from alignment. The prophets, the mystics, the masters, They were not forcing reality, they were flowing with it. They heard the pulse, they trusted the river, they resonated with the frequency of God. And because they flowed, they accomplished the impossible with ease. This can be your way too. You need not exhaust yourself against the current. You need only surrender to it, align with it, and let it carry you where you were always destined to go. The river of alignment is flowing now, beneath your very life. The frequency of God hums within it, steady, eternal, inviting. Will you resist, or will you let go? Chapter 11. The Light Within. There is a radiance at the center of your being that never fades, though you may forget it. It is not the light of the sun, nor the flame of a candle, nor the glow of fire. It is the inner light, the divine spark, the living frequency of God humming in your soul. Every great mystic, every awakened teacher, every prophet who has walked the earth pointed not outward but inward, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." Yet most search everywhere but themselves. They look to gold, to praise, to power, to approval, never realizing that what they seek burns steadily within their own heart. Pause for a moment. Place your hand gently on your chest. Close your eyes. Do you feel it? That steady warmth, that quiet glow? It is subtle, but it is real. It is the ember of eternity, placed within you since before birth, never extinguished. This is the light within, and it vibrates perfectly with the frequency of God. But here lies the paradox. Though the light never fades, it can be covered. Fear, doubt, anger, shame, they pile upon it like clouds over the sun. The light remains, but you no longer see it, and in forgetting, you live as if you are in darkness. You begin to believe you are small, powerless, broken. Yet the truth is, your essence has never dimmed. Remove the coverings, and the light blazes again. There was once a child named Leora, born into poverty, surrounded by hardship. She grew believing she was destined for nothing but struggle. Her neighbors mocked her, her family despaired. But one night, in a dream, she saw herself holding a lantern that could never go out. "This is who you are," a voice whispered. Not the dust around you, not the shadows, but the light within. When she awoke, she felt a shift. She began to treat herself differently, walking with dignity, though her clothes were tattered, speaking with kindness, though her stomach was empty. Slowly, others saw the light in her eyes. Opportunities found her. Allies came to her aid. Doors opened. Years later, she became a leader known for her wisdom and compassion. When asked her secret, she always said, "I remembered the light within." Do you see? Nothing changed outside until something changed inside. The field reflected her inner frequency. She carried light, so the world answered with brightness. The frequency of God responded to itself in her. The same truth is yours. Whatever you believe about yourself becomes the world's belief about you. Carry unworthiness, and life mirrors rejection. Carry radiance, and life mirrors honor. This is not arrogance, but law. The frequency of God is within you, and when you acknowledge it, the field resounds with agreement. Science has stumbled upon this mystery too. Studies of human biofields show that the heart emits a measurable electromagnetic field that extends beyond the body. When a person feels love, gratitude, or compassion, this field strengthens and becomes coherent. Others around them unconsciously synchronize with it. You have felt this. The presence of someone radiant who seems to uplift every room they enter. Their light is not metaphor. It is frequency, measurable and real. Yet many ask, how can I uncover my light when I feel consumed by shadows? The answer is simple but profound. Stop identifying with the shadow. Shadows are not objects. They are only the absence of light. Do not wrestle the shadow. Instead, turn on the lamp. Align with the frequency of God, and the shadows vanish on their own. Let me tell you another parable. A group of villagers lived in a valley where the sun was hidden by mountains. They grew accustomed to darkness, stumbling, fearful, cold. One day, a traveler came with a torch. The villagers gasped at the flame, marveling at its power. But the traveler said, "Do not worship this torch. The sun has always been above the mountains. If you climb, you will see it." Few believed him, content to huddle around the torch. But one child climbed, and at the peak, she saw the sun blazing, endless, free. She ran back shouting, "The light is not in the torch, it is in the sky." This is your truth. Teachers may offer torches, but the true light is already yours, waiting above the mountains of your fear. Now, let us enter a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Imagine a small flame glowing in your heart. At first, it may seem faint. Breathe into it. With every inhale, see it brighten. With every exhale, feel it expand. Soon it grows from a spark to a fire, from a fire to a sun, radiating through your chest, filling your body, spilling into the room. Whisper softly, "The light within me is the light of God. The frequency of God shines through me." Repeat this until you no longer imagine it. You feel it. The warmth in your chest, the glow in your mind, the expansion in your soul. Stay here until you know beyond thought that this light is your truth. When you open your eyes, notice the shift. The room may look the same, but you are different. Your presence has changed. And others will feel it, whether they understand it or not. The frequency of God is shining through you, altering the field, reshaping the reality around you. Understand this: the light within you is not fragile. It cannot be broken by failure, dimmed by rejection, or destroyed by loss. It is eternal. Even in your darkest hour, it hums quietly, waiting for you to remember. And when you do, the shadows dissolve, the fear subsides, the path clears. Every saint, every prophet, every teacher who ever changed the world did so not by seeking power outside, but by uncovering the light within. You are no different. You carry the same spark, the same frequency, the same possibility. The only difference is remembrance. So I ask you now, will you keep living as though you are small, powerless, broken? Or will you lift the veil, uncover the light, and let the frequency of God radiate through you? The choice is always yours. Chapter 12. The Ladder of Vibration. There is an invisible ladder upon which every soul stands. Each rung is a state of vibration, and as you ascend, the view changes. At the lowest rungs, the air is thick with fear, anger, and despair. People here feel heavy, as though life itself presses them down. Their vision is narrow, their possibilities limited. They believe themselves victims of fate, tossed about by forces they cannot control. But as one climbs, the air lightens. On higher rungs there is hope, peace, gratitude, love, joy. At the highest rungs, the frequency of God resounds most purely, and those who dwell here become luminous, walking mirrors of divinity, radiating abundance and peace. This ladder is not physical, it is the scale of vibration that governs reality. Every thought, every emotion, every belief places you somewhere upon it. And the rung upon which you stand determines the life you see, the opportunities that come, the reality that reflects. Yet here is the grace. You are not fixed to one rung. At any moment, you may climb. The ladder is infinite, and the ascent is always possible. Pause and reflect. Where are you standing today? If fear dominates, you are on a lower rung. If gratitude hums in you, you are higher. Be honest, not to judge, but to see clearly where you are. For awareness is the first step in climbing. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Darius who lived much of his life in bitterness. He envied those who prospered, cursed those who loved, and saw only shadows. His life echoed his state: poverty, conflict, loneliness. One evening, walking through a marketplace, he saw a beggar smiling, though he had nothing. Angrily, Darius demanded, "Why do you smile when you are poor?" The beggar replied, "Because I am alive, because the air fills my lungs, because even this bread I hold is a miracle." These words struck Darius. That night, he sat in silence and, for the first time, whispered thanks for the breath in his body. It was a small step, but a step upward. The next day, he thanked the sunrise. Days later, he thanked a stranger's kindness. Slowly, his bitterness loosened. Opportunities began to appear, relationships softened, joy trickled in. Years later, he was unrecognizable. Not because his wealth was vast, but because his vibration was high. He had climbed the ladder one step at a time. This is the secret. The climb is not giant leaps, but steady steps. Gratitude for one breath, love for one moment, faith in one choice. Each step shifts your frequency, and the universe answers with a new reflection. Science mirrors this truth. Emotions carry measurable frequencies. Fear, shame, and guilt register low. Love, joy, and gratitude register high. Brainwave patterns shift with emotion. Heart rhythms become coherent with love and chaotic with anger. The latter is not metaphor alone, it is measurable reality. You are a transmitter and receiver, climbing or descending with every state you choose. But here is where many stumble. They try to leap from despair to ecstasy in one bound. The gap is too wide, and they fall. The path is gentler. From despair, move to anger. It is higher. From anger, move to hope. It is higher still. From hope, move to gratitude. From gratitude to joy. Every step lifts you closer to the frequency of God, until you vibrate so purely that the field itself bends to your resonance. There is another parable. A teacher showed her student a ladder reaching into the sky. "Climb," she said. The student tried to leap to the top and fell. Again and again he failed. Frustrated, he cried, "It is impossible." The teacher smiled, placed his foot on the first rung and said, "Begin here." Slowly he climbed, one rung, then another, until he reached the heights. The lesson was clear. Do not despise small steps, for they lead to infinite ascent. So, how do you climb this ladder daily? First, by awareness. Notice your state. Ask, what am I vibrating right now? Second, by choice. Even if fear whispers, choose gratitude for something small. Even if anger burns, choose to release one burden. Each choice shifts your resonance. Third, by practice. Just as a climber strengthens with repetition, so too does your soul grow steady with practice. Gratitude rituals, moments of silence, affirmations spoken with conviction. These are the muscles that lift you. Let us enter a sacred practice together. Close your eyes. Imagine before you a ladder of light stretching upward into infinity. Look down at the rung you stand on now. Notice the vibration, the color, the feeling. Do not judge, just see. Now, lift your foot and step upward one rung. As you do, feel your body lighten. Breathe deeply. Step again, this time into gratitude. See the rung glowing brighter. Whisper softly. I climb the ladder of vibration. I rise into the frequency of God. Continue climbing, each step a shift. Hope, love, joy, peace. With each breath, higher still. Soon, you reach a place where the air is luminous, the light radiant, the hum of God unmistakable. Stand here. Let it fill you. Feel your entire being resonating with divine frequency. Stay until the vibration becomes your own. When you open your eyes, carry that resonance with you. Walk as though you are higher on the ladder than you were before. Speak as though your words are notes of a higher song. Act as though you are light in motion, for you are. Understand this. The ladder of vibration is not a destination but a journey. You may ascend and descend, but the direction is always in your hands. And the frequency of God is always above, inviting you higher, step by step, breath by breath. The question is not whether you can climb, you can. The question is, will you? Will you choose gratitude over bitterness, love over fear, faith over doubt? Each choice is a rung. Each day is an ascent. So I ask you, are you willing to climb today? Chapter 13. The Frequency of Love. If the universe has a purest note, a single sound that carries through the galaxies, through time and eternity, that note is love. Love is the highest resonance, the most powerful vibration, the true essence of the frequency of God. All other states are reflections, fragments, or distortions of this one. When you vibrate in love, not sentimental affection, not fleeting desire, but true, unconditional resonance, you align with the very heartbeat of creation. Think of it. The sun does not shine for reward, it shines because that is its nature. The river does not flow because it is paid, it flows because to flow is its truth. The tree does not bear fruit only for itself, it bears because bearing is its essence. So too with love, it gives not from lack, but from overflow. It radiates not for recognition, but because radiance is its nature. This is love as frequency, the pure vibration of God humming through all things. When you enter this frequency, fear dissolves, lack vanishes, discord melts. Love is the harmonizer, the great healer, the ultimate law. Align with it, and everything else aligns in turn. Let me share a story. There was once a healer named Alan, who was said to cure without medicine. People traveled far to see him. A man crippled with pain came, begging for relief. Alan placed his hands gently on him, not with technique but with presence. He whispered no incantations, used no tools. He simply radiated love. The man wept, and as he did, his body began to relax, his pain to ease, his spirit to rise. Within days, he was walking again. When asked what secret power he used, Alan smiled and said, "I do not heal. Love heals. I only let it flow through me." This is not fantasy. Modern science has studied the power of compassion and found it alters heart rhythms, strengthens immunity, calms the nervous system. Love is not sentiment alone, it is frequency. And its vibration shapes matter, health, and reality itself. But most confuse love with attachment, fear, or desire. True love is not grasping, not controlling, not demanding. It is resonance with the divine. It sees the light in all beings, even when hidden. It honors, uplifts, radiates. And when you vibrate in this state, you are most aligned with the frequency of God. Pause here and feel it. Close your eyes and think of someone or something you love deeply, not with conditions, but with pure appreciation. Let that feeling fill your chest, warm your body, soften your mind. That is the vibration. Now expand it. Imagine it flowing not only toward one, but toward all. Toward strangers, toward the earth, toward even those who hurt you. Love them not for what they did, but because love is who you are. As you do, feel your vibration rising. This is the climb to the highest rung of the ladder. Another parable speaks this truth. A king once asked his sage, "What is the greatest power?" The sage replied, "It is not armies, for they crumble. It is not wealth, for it fades. It is not fame, for it dies. The greatest power is love, for it bends the universe without force." The king scoffed, but years later, when his empire fell and only a few faithful remained, it was love that sustained him. He realized then the sage was right. Everything else was shadow compared to the frequency of love. So how do you live daily in this resonance? First, by remembering that love is not earned. It is your nature. You need not seek it, you are it. Second, by practicing forgiveness. Resentment anchors you to low vibration. Forgiveness frees you to rise. Third, by radiating without demand. Love not to receive, but to be. The frequency of God flows most strongly through those who allow it without condition. Let us move into a sacred practice now. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. Whisper softly, "I am love. I am aligned with the frequency of God." With each breath, imagine your chest glowing brighter. See the light expand, filling your body, then the room, then the world. Picture it touching those near and far, friend and stranger alike. Whisper again, "I radiate love, and love returns to me multiplied." Stay here until your heart feels wide, open, unbound. When you rise, carry this frequency with you. Let your words be softened by love, your eyes see through love, your actions flow from love. This is not weakness, it is the greatest strength. For love bends reality, opens doors, heals wounds, and lifts vibrations faster than any force. Understand this. Love is the key that unlocks all others. Gratitude, abundance, peace, all are facets of love. When you live in love, you live in alignment. When you vibrate in love, the field sings back. When you embody love, you embody God. The frequency of God is love itself, and to walk in love is to walk in harmony with creation. So I ask you, will you keep living in fear, or will you choose love, the highest vibration of all? Chapter 14, The Temple of Sound. Every culture that has ever touched the divine has known this truth. Sound carries power. Not sound as noise, not sound as chatter, but sound as sacred vibration, the audible face of frequency itself. The ancient Vedic sages spoke of Om, the primordial syllable said to hold the whole universe within it. The Hebrews declared, "In the beginning was the Word." Mystics of the East chanted mantras that rippled through centuries, while monks in stone cathedrals filled the air with chants that made walls tremble. Why? Because sound is the doorway through which the invisible frequency of God becomes visible in form. When you speak, you are not merely releasing words, you are releasing waves. Every syllable you utter vibrates into the field. Angry words create static. Gentle words weave harmony. A single phrase of love can heal a heart. A single phrase of hatred can break it. The tongue, the ancients said, is both sword and balm. To understand this is to stand in awe of your own voice, for your voice is an instrument of the frequency of God. Think of music. A violin string plucked in silence sends ripples through the air, moving unseen molecules that stir the ear and the soul. In the same way, every thought, when spoken, becomes amplified. The field hears not only your inner vibration, but the resonance of your voice. This is why affirmations spoken aloud carry such force. They are not mere wishes, but waves etched into the field, repeated until the field bends to their shape. Let me share a story. There was once a young boy named Caleb who stuttered badly. He was mocked, silenced, ignored. He grew ashamed of his voice, believing it cursed. One day, an elder took him to a cavern deep in the earth. "Shout!" the elder commanded. Caleb resisted, but finally cried out, his broken voice echoing strangely against the stone. To his shock, the cavern repeated his cry, not with weakness, but with strength, filling the chamber like thunder. The elder said, "Do you see? Your voice, when joined with resonance, is mighty." The cavern does not care for perfection. It amplifies what is given. So too with God. Speak not with fear, but with faith, and the universe will echo. From that day, Caleb spoke without shame, and in time, his voice became his gift. This parable holds the truth. The frequency of God responds to sound, not because the words themselves are magic, but because sound is vibration, and vibration is law. Pause now and reflect. What sound have you been releasing into your world? Do your words create harmony or static? Do they uplift or diminish? Every sentence builds or breaks. And when aligned with love, with truth, with faith, your voice becomes a temple of sound. Science confirms what the mystics always knew. Cymatics shows how sound shapes matter into intricate patterns, geometries that shift with every note. Chanting and singing alter brainwaves, reduce stress, synchronize heart rhythms. Sound literally changes the body, the mind, and the field. To chant Om, to whisper a prayer, to sing with joy. These are not rituals of superstition. They are alignment with the law of frequency. But the purest sound is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quietest whisper, spoken in conviction. The mother who whispers, "You are safe," to her child. The lover who says, "I am with you." The seeker who prays alone in the night. These sounds ripple farther than the ear perceives. The frequency of God amplifies them, echoing them into creation. Another parable tells of a monk who rose each dawn to chant in the monastery. His brothers thought it ritual alone, but he said, "I do not chant to remind God of me. I chant to remind myself of God." His voice carried through the stone halls, and though his words were simple, the vibration shifted the very atmosphere. Pilgrims who entered said they felt peace before hearing a single sermon. It was the frequency of his sound that touched them. So, how do you make your life a temple of sound? First, by becoming aware of your words. Speak not in idle complaint, but in creative declaration. Second, by practicing sacred sound, chants, affirmations, prayers spoken aloud, songs of gratitude. Third, by listening to silence between sounds, for even silence has its hum. Now, let us enter a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath. On the exhale, whisper softly, Om. Feel the vibration in your chest. Repeat, letting the sound lengthen, the hum spread through your body. Now speak aloud, I am aligned with the frequency of God. Say it slowly, as if each word were a stone dropping into still water, sending ripples through the unseen. Repeat it 3 times. Then fall silent, listening, not only with your ears, but with your soul, to the echo. That echo is not only in the room, It is in the field, vibrating into creation. Chapter 15. The frequency of faith. Faith is not belief alone. Belief is fragile, shaken by evidence, rattled by doubt. Faith is deeper. It is resonance. Faith is the vibration that aligns you with outcomes not yet seen, the sound of certainty humming before form appears. It is the invisible bridge between the unseen and the seen, the energy that calls substance into existence. Faith is the frequency of God expressed through trust. Consider a seed buried in the soil. In darkness, unseen, covered by earth, it still vibrates with life. The farmer waters it not because he sees it sprout, but because he knows it will. That knowing is faith, the resonance that nourishes the unseen until it becomes visible. Most live not in faith, but in doubt. They ask for abundance while vibrating lack. They pray for healing while vibrating fear. They hope for love while vibrating rejection. And then they wonder why the field does not answer. But the field always answers. It mirrors vibration. Faith is not asking, it is embodying. It is vibrating as though the promise is already fulfilled. There was once a woman named Selah who lived through famine. Her neighbors despaired, convinced death was near. But Selah each morning set a table for a meal, though her cupboards were bare. She lit candles, placed plates, and said grace. Her family laughed bitterly at her ritual, but one evening, a caravan lost its way and stopped near her home. The traders, grateful for shelter, repaid her with sacks of grain, fruits, and oils. Her table was filled, exactly as she had prepared for it. Her neighbors marveled, but she said only, "The field answered the vibration of my faith." Do you see? Faith is not waiting until you see. It is knowing before you see. It is resonance that bends the unseen toward the seen. Science whispers the same mystery. Placebo studies reveal that expectation alters biology. Sugar pills heal when faith is present. Quantum experiments show observation shapes outcomes. In both, the vibration of certainty influences reality. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is a frequency measurable in the field. Pause now and reflect. Where have you been asking but not vibrating? Where have you hoped but not embodied? The frequency of God does not respond to desperation. It responds to resonance. Align your vibration with fulfillment, and fulfillment will come. Let me share another parable. A teacher led his student to a barren field. "What do you see?" the teacher asked. "Emptiness," said the student. The teacher handed him a bag of seeds. "Plant." The student resisted, saying, "There's nothing here." But the teacher replied, "Faith does not wait for fruit to plant. Faith plants because fruit is certain." The student obeyed, and in time the field became a garden. The lesson was clear. Faith is planting before the harvest. So how do you cultivate the frequency of faith? First, by declaring as though it already island speak, not "I will be abundant," but "I am abundant," not "I will be healed," but "I am whole." Your words tune your vibration. Second, by embodying gratitude now. Act as though the blessing is already here. Thank before you receive, celebrate before it arrives. Gratitude in advance is the highest form of faith. Third, by silencing doubt through practice. When fear rises, breathe deeply. Return to the hum of the divine and remind yourself, the frequency of God is steady. I align with it now. Now let us enter a sacred practice. Close your eyes. Imagine before you a field of light, empty yet fertile. In your hand, see seeds glowing, each one a desire, a vision, a prayer. With each breath, Plant them into the soil of light. As you do, whisper, "It is done." See roots form instantly. See sprouts rise. See the garden blooming all around you. Feel the joy of receiving. Not someday, but now. Whisper again, "It is done." I am aligned with the frequency of God. Stay here until the garden feels real, until gratitude rises as naturally as breath. When you open your eyes, carry that certainty with you. Do not wait. Walk as though it is already so. Speak as though it is already so. Act as though it is already so. The field will mirror your resonance. Understand this. Faith is not blindness. It is vision deeper than sight. It is the alignment of your inner frequency with the eternal hum of God. And when you carry it, mountains move, rivers part, doors open, because reality itself must bend to resonance. The frequency of God is the vibration of certainty. To live in faith is to live as though the promise is already fulfilled. So I ask you now, will you keep waiting to see, or will you begin vibrating as though it is already done? Conclusion. The return to frequency. You have walked with me through rivers of silence and gardens of abundance, through the ladder of vibration and the pulse of creation. You have seen how thought becomes architecture, how sound becomes temple, how love becomes the highest song. And beneath every parable, every story, every practice, the truth has been the same. The frequency of God is the hidden law, the hum beneath existence, the current that shapes all form. It has never been far. It is not locked away in temples, not reserved for saints, not hidden in secret codes. It is here, in you, as you. It is the hum in your chest, the light in your eyes, the resonance of your being. To live in alignment with it is not to escape the world, but to transform it. To walk through storms without being shaken, to touch shadows without losing light, to create not by force but by frequency. Pause and feel it now. Breathe. Beneath the noise of thought, there it is, the steady hum, the eternal rhythm, the song that has never stopped. That is God. That is you. Your journey does not end with these words. It begins here. Each day you choose, static or symphony, fear or faith, scarcity or abundance. Each thought, each breath, each whisper tunes you closer to the frequency of God or further into noise. The law is simple but profound. Align, and life aligns with you. So let your life become music. Let your heart become a temple. Let your voice become a prayer, your thoughts a cathedral, your presence a radiant field. Walk as though you are already light, because you are. Walk as though you are already whole, because you are. Walk as though you are already abundant, because you are. The frequency of God hums through you eternally, waiting only for your remembrance. Now, step forward in certainty. The universe is listening. The field is echoing. The song of creation is yours to play. If this journey has touched you, if you felt the hum of recognition, I invite you, like this video, so the circle of resonance may expand. Leave a comment and share the moment you felt the frequency of God stir within you, so others may be inspired by your light. And subscribe, that we may continue to walk together in teachings that awaken, uplift, and align. For you are not alone in this path. We are a chorus, and when voices gather, the frequency of God resounds louder, brighter, stronger, carrying us all higher. The song has begun. Now live it.